Hi friends, my name is Megan and welcome back to my channel, The Crafty Quinn. Today I am showing you how to make 3 patriotic DIYs and it's for an open patriotic DIY challenge. More about that in a little bit, so let's get crafting. So first we're starting with this Dollar Tree sign. It's one of their new 4th of July decor pieces. Well, 4th of July, Memorial Day, I'm not quite sure, but it's brand new and I've seen it in a lot of Dollar Trees right now. So this should be easy for you guys to find. I know I've been using a lot of those houses and those have been a little bit more difficult to find, but I have seen this in many stores. And these are metal stars, by the way, so I took my scraper tool and I peeled them off of there, and they are, like I said, real metal, so be careful because those stars were a little bit sharp on the edges. So I'm also taking this mini wooden tag, also from Dollar Tree, and it comes in a little kit with like markers and stuff. And so I just painted that with some, I'm not quite sure what the color's called, but it's Waverly chalk paint. So next I'm taking these stars and I'm going to make them vintage looking. I'm going to take some Waverly antique wax and I'm just going to coat them in this, just kind of dabbing it on there, and that gives it more of a vintage feel. And 2 out of 3 of my DIYs in this video are going to look more vintage, and I have to say I really love that about those DIYs. And when I was making them, I kind of felt like this feels like 40s vintage, like, I don't know, I love that about them. So I'm kind of taking it a different route. So I also am taking that metal washer over there that you see next to one of the stars, and that is going to go around the hole, around the top of the side, well, the top of the tag has a hole in it, and that's going to go on top of it and to reinforce it, so to speak. And so I did the same process to that, distressed it, and then I'm just taking my chippy brush and I am using some Waverly antique wax to distress this wooden tag as well. I'm just trying to do light coats. I like to just get as much of the wax off of the paintbrush as best I can so it doesn't look too clumpy, and I just do a very, very light distressing normally. I actually went back and I kept doing more and more and more distressing to this simply because the red color was much too bright and it was almost kind of pinkish in a way. So just to kind of dull some of the brightness, I'm going back over with a another thin layer and trying to make this more brownish in color. So next I'm just taking my hot glue gun and I'm going to place the washer that I distressed on top of the hole at the very top of this tag. And I will say the antique wax takes a very long time, in my opinion, to cure. So when I put the tag on there at first, I got some of the wax off on my fingers because I didn't let it dry long enough. Like I feel like it needs like a full day to actually really cure. So anyway, I just went ahead and put these stars on there, and then I did go back and I distressed both the washer and the stars after they're already hot glued on here, and just to, you know, give them more of a vintage feel. And because there's so much antique wax on this tag, it didn't really make a huge difference, so I could do that easily. So I'm actually taking these stamps now from Hobby Lobby, and I did hear from one of my subscribers that it's good to kind of just swipe the stamp kind of across the ink pad to kind of get rid of those edges of paint and whatnot. Well, it was a little bit difficult to do that with chalk paint, so I just tried to put it on there lightly as best I could, and then I'm going back over it now with a very, very thin brush. And since my letters are not normally spaced out great with stamps, I've just kind of taken that as my signature look now. So I think I like how it's not, you know, perfectly spaced and just kind of a little bit uneven, and it gives it a more of a rustic feel. And then as you can see there, I just added some twine at the end. And this is the end result, and I have to say, I really feel like this looks 40s vintage to me, and I just love it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this DIY as well. Today's Patriotic DIY Challenge is hosted by Teresa B. DIY and co-hosted by Unicorn Dust Designs. It's honoring service members and veterans, and creators are donating their ad revenue from these videos in the playlist to the charity Teresa selected, Fisher House. Fisher House is amazing. They build comfort homes where military and veteran families can stay while a loved one is in the hospital. And if you want to check them out and make a donation, I've linked to their website below as well as the playlist. So I'm not currently making any ad revenue for my videos, but once I do, I will definitely donate that. I've made a small donation already to Fisher House, and I'm planning to make another one. So I would love to encourage you guys to do the same. So, so my cat, Marcus, the Crafty Kitty, has decided to join us. He started making an appearance in my videos kind of early on when I started out with this channel, and my subscribers have just come to know him now as the Crafty Kitty, and the name is just kind of stuck. So here I'm just taking these cubes, and these are actually the Dollar Tree cubes. I finally found them, you guys. I'm no longer going to get a packet at Hobby Lobby because I found the Dollar Tree ones and I know where to find them now. And I will say the Dollar Tree wooden cubes are a lot bigger than the Hobby Lobby ones, so it kind of gives you more space to work with. I thought maybe I was going to take those letters that I use in my final DIY and place them on here, but I actually decided to just paint the cubes and just use these small wooden stars that I got from Hobby Lobby. So I'm using chalk paint on both cubes, as you can see here. The blue chalk paint, I got that from Michael's, I believe, and then the first one is coated with the white Waverly chalk paint. So I'm taking this Dollar Tree red wire, and you'll see what I do in a little bit, but I'm going to use a very, very thin paintbrush, and you'll see why in just a moment. But I'm just taking the wire and I'm wrapping it around one of the thinnest paintbrushes I have to give it a little spiral look. So I do about 3 of these per cube, and when I saw these, I was like, I think I want to make this into something that looks like fireworks. I don't know. You can think these are fireworks if you want, and maybe this DIY is more of a 4th of July one, but I just thought it was so cute to just kind of add those at the top. And right now I'm just taking some white Waverly chalk paint, just very, very thin coat, just dry brushing that over the blue cube, and then for the white cube I'm taking the antique Waverly wax and I'm giving this a very, very thin coat. I like to catch the edges of the cubes to give it more of a vintage feel, weathered look. So that's my distressing technique, I guess. I didn't really think I have one, but I think I do now. I think it's more like I just like to really try and get more of the antique Waverly wax on the edges more so than anywhere else. And normally I don't really do a ton of distressing kind of like in the middle. It's all about the edging for me. So I applied the same technique with the white Waverly chalk paint to the wood stars, as you can see here. So now I'm just hot gluing those on. So now I'm a big fan of the Surebonder glue guns, and I have to say I think that, I don't know if it's the glue gun or what, but I feel like my stuff is holding a lot better with this glue gun. So I went ahead and linked that down for you guys below. I found it on Amazon. So I did use some antique Waverly wax on that white star that you see there on the blue cube, and then I just did some white Waverly chalk paint to the red star that you see there. So here I'm just placing the little spirals on the very top of the cube. And really for this, I just put a little dab of hot glue in the very, very middle of the cube. And then I held all 3 little spirals in the hot glue at the same time and just held it there for about maybe 30 seconds. And that's what helped just keep it up, like sitting upright. So you just have to be patient, but I promise the end result is worth it because look how cute they turn out, you guys. I guess cubes are officially my thing now because I've made about 3 different kinds, I think. So I love these, and I hope you guys enjoy making them too, but this was a lot of fun. So if you like what you see here, my name is the Crafty Quinn. This is the Crafty Kitty, Marcus. Please make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Give this video a thumbs up. It will really help my channel grow. Thank you guys so much for watching. And one more DIY. I didn't want to make that sound like that's the end, but there's one more DIY. And this one gave me so much trouble, you guys. I filmed this along with another craft, and somehow my footage got trapped in the cloud, and because it was such a large file, it would not come down from the cloud, so to speak. So I just went ahead and recreated this morning, and I recreated what I did just doing this with one of them. And now since I've already made the craft, I know like what I should and shouldn't have done and whatnot. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking this little Dollar Tree, one of those they look like shelves basically, but they can be found at Dollar Tree, and I had grabbed 4 of them, luckily. And so here's the 4th one, and I'm just taking some Hobby Lobby scrapbook paper, and I just used it to trace it, as you can tell. And I just basically keep using the little shelf to help cut it down. And then I realized that here's what I should have done last time. So I went ahead and I took the Antique Waverly wax, and I'm putting that on the very inside of the shelf first, before I lay down that scrapbook paper in the very back of the shelf. So now is definitely the time to do it. And I will say, I didn't do that with this one, but what I did with the other 3, which you'll see in a little bit, it will spell out USA, and I used 3 shelves to make the word, obviously. But so I just take some Antique Waverly wax, and I just place that on top of it, just doing a very, very light coat, trying to do the same technique of catching the edges and whatnot. And I put that aside, and now I'm just using my Elmer's Craft Bond glue stick to secure the scrapbook paper to the very back of this little shelf. So like I said, I was doing steps a lot earlier, and you know, when you're in the creative process and you're just kind of going through the motions, you're not really thinking about, oh, I should probably do this step first. It's just more like, oh, I think I should do this. I think I should add this, you know? So this definitely was one benefit, right? Looking on the bright side here. So once that's secured down, I just took some hot glue to the letter, and I just placed that right in the middle. And honestly, I wasn't even trying, and somehow I managed to get this perfectly in the middle. And it's like, of course, the time when I'm not really trying, it ended up looking great. But with the other 3, I tried really, really hard, and I had to keep moving them around because I wasn't quite happy with the placement. So as a very last step, I'm taking this Antique Waverly wax again, and now distressing the outside of the box. And that is the very last step, you guys. And I will say that with the other ones that I made, I did use some light coats of Antique Waverly wax to distress the actual scrapbook paper behind the letters, and I did that before I placed the letters down. So I made the more of like the white colors that were in the other pieces of scrapbook paper distressed as well, by using a very, very light coat of the Antique Waverly wax on the scrapbook paper. So I recommend doing that if you want to give it this vintage look, and this is how it will turn out. And I think it's so adorable. To me, I think this looks like 40s vintage, and I absolutely love it. So I kept the little, I don't even know what you would call it, but the little metal pieces on the very top, and this is how it looks. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to check out more videos, check them out here on the left. Let's keep in touch on Instagram, and make sure to check out all the other videos in the playlist. Thank you guys, and tune in tomorrow.